Yeah. We took away our history.
So, Dr. Neff, first of all, for my audience, because your audience knows you, I want you to introduce to my audience who you are and where you came from.
Okay, before I do that, I have a gift that I brought for y'all.
Oh,
thank you. You and the brother ADINKRA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Well, we'll look at the gifts. Yeah, we'll worry about we'll look at the gift later. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So when y'all bring y'all ass down here to do the show, y'all make sure y'all bring us something.
That's the only right thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm Dr. HERU, the author of about 22 or 23 books known as the NUN tablets, and it's actually coming from the science of NUNOLOGY. I'm a spiritual master of an organization by the name of Eternal Temple of Nun, and I had my ascension back in 2009. My journey really started in 2009. Like the accumulation of my journey started in 2009 in Ghana, West Africa, after I had my ascension, or actually March 18th, 2009 at 1 p.m. All right. So, you know, for those who don't know me, you know, through the science of nunology, I do my best through the power of the ancestors on the planet and the celestial ancestors in the stars to teach people how to reprogram their subconscious mind. That's not the only thing, but you know, that's where I started at, and that's what, you know, gave me my claim to fame, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Teaching people how to empower themselves, teaching people how to tap back into their ancestral forces so you can empower yourself, and also dealing with pure positive energy, you know. So I hope that satisfies the question. If not, keep going.
No. Okay, no, that's cool. Okay, well, y'all refresh your computers because we can hear.
Yeah, I don't know, something's going on their end, but Brother ADINKRA says people can hear on his end.
So we can hear.
Come back to the webpage.
Watching from this page.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They have to probably get out. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, refresh your webpage for those who can hear. Okay, so Dr. Neff, all right, you know, I noticed you've been back on the scene. I remember we used to have a show called Intuitive Tuesday.
That's right.
Which you also have the ability to be very, very spiritual and read too.
Yes, well, thank you.
So I remember we had a great show.
Yeah.
And then you were bringing a lot of information. You also had your own radio show too.
That's right.
Right. So people, I am very familiar. Me and Dr. Neff knew each other for years, and we did some readings together. You know, so I love to listen to my brother because he teaches me some things I didn't know. You know, and with Dr. Neff, one of the things one of the reasons I wanted to bring him on the show is because he's pretty much vibrating on that same frequency. Y'all hear me talking about the sun, the importance of talking to the sun and the trees and the birds. Now, there was something you were talking about on one of your feeds that I wanted you to discuss.
Okay.
In reference to now, you know, over here where we're at, you see all the power lines right here, right?
That's right.
Tell me something about that, because I had a client that a customer that came in the store. She said that we're being protected by the PowerPoint.
I don't know about that.
I was like, okay, what do you mean?
I don't know about that.
And now and not only that, now you also talked about the birds. And one thing I wanted to share with you is that we do hear birds a lot. The birds are constantly over here a lot.
Well, that's a good thing.
What does that mean?
I mean, it means if the birds are here, that means it's not messing up the electromagnetic grid that they use to fly. Okay. Because birds use, you know what I'm saying, the electromagnetic grid, they can actually see it, you know, and they use it to navigate. So that means that, you know, with all the technology, it's throwing, you know, you notice the bees are gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's because they all, you know, dragonflies, they all use the so-called electromagnetic wave, you know, of nature. You know, nature has its own. You know what I'm saying? It's through the, what they call Schumann tone. Well, it's not Schumann tone. Schumann was actually the gentleman who discovered it. You know what I'm saying? But it actually is a tone and an electromagnetic frequency or electromagnetic pulse that the planet Earth sends out naturally. You know? And it dictates from 7.83 hertz. So it's a sound, it's a vibration. And the birds, the animals, all of us will pick up on it. You know, I don't know what that is. All of us will pick up on it. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is that once it starts getting disrupted, then, you know, the animals, you know, are going to go away and start to gravitate towards where it's not being disrupted. Your battery, that's fine. We can just push. Yeah, when it go out, it go out. If my connection closes, just tune into Nicky Love's Facebook page, you know, and you know, you can continue watching. But yeah, so being that there's a lot of birds, that's a great thing. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I don't really know what she meant by that statement. Other, you know, let's hit that X button there. Other than, yeah, let's hit that X. No, let's hit that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Other than, if there's, you know, there's a lot of electrical. Therefore, this may not be an area that they're really focusing on bringing a lot of technology.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But the actual power, she said the power plant is protecting you. Nah,
because there's a lot of power here. Now, let me ask you this. I was curious about this. You know, you talk about the ley lines and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, is it a possibility that there is a ley line right here because all the power's right here?
It could be a possibility.
So many birds and squirrels around here.
Is there water around here?
No, down the street. The closest they have like a water plant.
Yeah, and they got a lake too.
They have a water. Oh, lake. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So that's still the birds and all the squirrels and all that. They're still feeding off that. You know what I'm saying? That natural nature of the water.
Yeah, we do see bees and dragonflies around.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. See, I'm
a lot.
I'm in Conyers, Georgia, and you don't see that.
Really?
Nah. You see dragonflies a little bit, birds scarcely. But you know, I live walking distance. They just snuck it in on us. I live walking distance from a cell phone tower.
Really?
Yeah. The frequencies being emitted off that is crazy.
So the frequency from that tower is interrupting the natural frequency of the earth, and that's why we're not seeing any bees and all that good stuff.
That's right. And it's throwing off our sleep pattern. It's throwing off our psychic abilities.
Really?
Yeah. I was listening to a gentleman. There's a video I have on my Facebook page. Don't really know the name of the video. You just have to go to the wall. And actually, what was happening was the gentleman was saying that underneath the wireless towers now, there's a like a copper wire copper wire is extending 3 football fields, which is 300 yards.
Wow.
So he was like, the copper wire is all in your basement and everything, and it's creating it looks like a spoke of a tire, a spoke, and it just extends out, and it's creating an artificial, what do you call it, like an artificial plate or artificial floor over the earth, so it's throwing our frequency off. You see, because if we were, like when I was in Ghana, there was nothing. I was pretty much totally in nature. And when I was living in the countryside, there was no technology like that. You know, lucky there was light poles. You know what I'm saying? And lights. When it got dark in the evening time, it really was really dark. Like you could see, you know, the stars. So it allowed me to sink back in with natural nature. You see, if you leave us alone and we get in our natural environment. What I noticed is people over there, what they do is naturally everybody in this town I was living in, including us, we were going to sleep naturally around 6 o'clock.
That was right.
That because as soon as that evening time set in, and after you ate, it was just natural. Now, you know what I'm saying? But I would get up, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that to do work. But then I noticed also too, as soon as like the sun was supposedly starting to appear, you would hear the roosters crowing. You know what I'm saying? As this was an alarm clock, and then you slowly start hearing people stirring. But by the time it was like visible light, everybody's up and moving again. And I seen it clockwork for a year and a half. So,
and did you notice that? And I was telling other thinkers a while back. I said in Africa, they go to bed by the sunlight and wake up. And, you know, so did you notice the levels of stress? Like, did you notice the stress levels were different? They were more calm. They were more in tune with nature.
That's right. And it also built up my melatonin levels, and around for some reason for me around 5 or 6 a.m. is when my brain started excreting that, and that's when I would have my most deepest sleep, and I would do a lot of astral projecting naturally.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of information will come, but because we don't fall into what do you call deep sleep or REM sleep, you know. That's the reason why a lot of us don't get those messages and all that stuff. Other than people, you know what I'm saying, who put the work in. You know what I'm saying? We're no better than the rest of y'all, but all of us have put the work in so we can get those messages. And some of y'all just naturally get those messages. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't have to put the work in. I feel I had to put the work in, you know what I'm saying? But some people just naturally, you know, get those messages. So it's really, and they're doing it on purpose, you know?
Why? Because they know that when it's transformation.
That's right.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
We're doing it on purpose because I remember as of 2012, right? People say, well, December 21st, 2012 came, ain't nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody said. Oh, it was a ruse. It was crazy. Ain't nothing happened. That movie just came out. not realizing that 2012 was just the start of the shift. You see, if you actually Google right now the pole shift, their scientists have learned that the pole shift is originating right where it originally started thousands of years ago, and that place is South Africa. Yes, South Africa, which is in Africa. There, if you Google it right now, the pole shift, Africa. Scientists are monitoring why has it shifted to Africa. You see, and this ties in to my original teacher, Dr. Malachi York. The New Yorkers have a book out called 2012 and the Procession. Oh, really? And yes, and in that actual fact, in that book, he was saying that the energy, you know what I'm saying, was in Mecca at one time. The concentration of the world. That's why the Arabs are so successful. That's why they're so rich with the oil and all this other stuff, right? Because the energy was over there. Everybody was getting oil from them, and you know what I'm saying? And then they discovered it. But now, because the planet has shifted, the spot to be, like one time it was Atlantis. Then they moved to ancient Egypt. Then they moved to Mecca. Now the place on the spot of the planet where the magnetism, the life force is coming out of, is in Africa. And he was telling us, he was telling us that now it's shifting to the original people, and the first people within our race or species, it affects the women first. And that's why you remember back in the day when I first stepped on the scene, I said it was about feminine energy. Right. Yep. I was saying about feminine energy. Yeah. And they were like, what do you mean? The brothers was fighting, and then the brother, you know what I'm saying, shout out to him, you know, hopefully we'll see him soon, but the brother Natural Tahuti. Remember Natural Tahuti, he really went in with the black woman's God and the woman's God, and they really attacked him. Now people see, you know, it's about the feminine energy. He was even a movement started, right? With Oprah and all them, and they was, you know, the whole, and Janelle Monáe and all them, and every, you know, they also, you know, the whole movement, you know, because it's about the feminine energy. So what happens is now that the pole shift is taking place, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's affecting our sisters on a global scale. That's why you see so much, you know, people, the younger generation, millennium, natural hair, and, you know, all this other stuff. People are now taking care of themselves. They, you know what I'm saying, they're being proud of the skin that they're in. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So now what's happening is that it first affects the people on the landmass. This is why you see Africa coming up. Right. And they even did a report a long time ago, like back in 2007, by 2020, which we're around the corner now. They said by 2020, you know what I'm saying? The three most global economies on the planet will be Brazil, will be the continent of Africa, and will be India. They will be the most richest, you know, and also China. But they said that India, as far as, because China has always been on a certain level, but the ones who haven't, they said India, Africa, and they said Brazil, you know? And first it affects people on the continent of Africa, then it affects on a subconscious level, called through what they call morphic genetic pool. You know what I'm saying? Or morphic resonance, because we're all connected through what they call in quantum physics, quantum entanglement. Then it starts affecting everybody else who is a part of that, you know what I'm saying, race. It affects, and we start to wake up. You understand? And then through the global collective consciousness, it'll start affecting everybody. And because we're all mixed in, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really pure anything as far as in America is concerned. And we talking about race, you know what I'm saying? People on the continent, they haven't been really mixed in. But it's us, we're all mixed in, you know what I'm saying? So the reason it will start to affect humanity as a whole. And that's what you see what's happening now, you know?
Okay. Because you mentioned Africa and the shift of the energy in Africa. So if you know that, you know, the governments know that because they study things like that. Is that why there's such a big fuss with South Africa? Like, because Mugabe was kicking the Europeans out, taking their land, and now they found a way to usurp him and get him out of there.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, well, go ahead.
So my thing is, does that have anything to do with the energy shifting?
It has everything, because if you remember, are you still alive?
Because they're not picking it up there, so we need to pick it up there.
If you remember, right? There was a point in time where our brothers and sisters in South Africa didn't stand up like that. Like, you got all these brothers and sisters in South Africa, and they marching around the prison where Nelson Mandela was at. They literally overpowered what they called the Afrikaners, which was the so-called European Africans, right? Yeah. You know, because they said we African too, we were born here too, but they had a label of Afrikaners. right? So at that time, we didn't have the energy, the strength. You see, the mindset. You know what I'm saying? To fight. But what happens is once the energy shifts, it's called revolutionary forces. But when we talk about revolution, we're not talking about fighting. You know what I'm saying? As far as here in America, we're talking about a revolution of the mind. And because you know, once we all get to start thinking on the same type of thoughts, we become one, and the body is just going to naturally follow. But now, you know, we all still scattered in our thinking. You know what I'm saying? So yes, the shift has everything to do with them now wanting to free the land of the so-called, you know, not so-called, but from the oppressors, those who oppress them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like Fela Kuti said, unfortunately, in Nigeria, the oppressor looks like me. You know what I'm saying? So the oppressor could be anybody, but because of the politics. And the politics, right.
And I always complain to Nicky about every time, like if you do watch TV or something, I always complain about that with the melanin aspect of it too, because every time we watch a commercial, they're always showing a black woman and a white man, or a black man and a white woman. And I'm saying, it's something to that.
Right, it is.
And which I know it is, but I just feel like it's becoming even more now, because now they don't even do that with no other race. I don't see them promoting black and Chinese or black and Hispanic or black, you know, black and no other, only black and white.
Exactly.
And of course, you know, when I started studying, when I started studying about eugenics and the other things with the population and all of that, and their races dying off.
Exactly.
And we was looking at it. I was showing her the other day, because I'm from Texas. In Houston, they have they do the census, and it's predominantly Mexican.
Okay.
And so what they did with the census is, we was looking at the census of the United States, and it said Houston is 54%, something like 54% white.
Right.
And then the rest is the black is 20 something, and the rest is like Asian and the other races. And I said, they're lying, because it's not that many white people there. I said it's more white people than black people. And then when they look at the census that they broke it down into the city of Houston, when the city counted, they had it at 25%, like 25 point something percent Hispanic, Mexican, and then like 24% white or something like that. So they'll give you a false number, then they give you the truth, then they give you a false number and the truth. But my thing is, I know that they're dying off, and so is this a play for them to get some of that original melanin back, so they can start the process over again?
Well, this is what you mean. You said a whole lot. I don't mean like that. You said a whole lot. I'm saying you said a whole lot that I can just, the information is coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm still studying about indigenousness. So I'm not qualified to speak on it further, but I would like to make a statement, okay, that what I'm studying thus far is that, you know, you said those who claim that they're white, you know, even though physically you see that is more so-called blacks than there is so-called whites in Houston, because everybody on paper is claiming legally that they're white. There's a lot of people who know about indigenousness. You see what I'm saying? And they know that according to law, the word black has no standing. You see what I'm saying? Legally. So when they do the census, they have already put the paperwork in and did what they needed to do on a piece of paper to say that, no, I am white and I identify as a Native American. I'm not a black person. You see what I'm saying? On paper. We're not educated just yet about this, so we just fill the thing out and put black, African American, you see what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother conversation that I'd love to come back, you know what I'm saying, once I get qualified, or bring somebody up here who is qualified to educate us and talk about. Now, as far as why they are now, you know what I'm saying, pushing, you know what I'm saying, the race agenda and the mixing, because we know
Yeah. You took away our